Hello and welcome everyone to the Beacon of Light podcast this evening. We are so excited to have you here tonight. And we have a very special guest with us this evening. His name is Frankie Kington, and he is all the way from England. And so it's pretty late in the evening for him, but we are here and we're so excited. So we're going to pop in and get to know all we can about him. But first, let's jump into this. I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now. And we are back. Welcome everyone again. If you are here popping up, go ahead and share with us where you are from. And we are excited to bring you tonight Mr. Frankie Kington. So, Frankie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, April. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I love the podcast Speaking of Light. I thought it was really amazing. I know you're an amazing lady, and I'm really happy to be on your podcast. My name is Frankie Kington, and I live in the UK, a cold, wet, but nice place called Manchester, East Manchester. And I'm an entrepreneur and thought leader. And I help troubled young men develop the mindset to transform their lives to be outstanding role models in society. And I do this through my mentoring and coaching programs. And I do public speaking as well. And I am known as a professional expert authority. And I have a lot of platforms and groups on social media. So you actually find me on Facebook. I have Empowering Youth Development. I have my own profile there. I have my youth coaching groups as well. And I'm on Instagram. I have my own YouTube channel called Empowering Youth Development and Live Coaching. And I do Pinterest and do other social media platforms as well. So you'll see me a lot on social media. And on Facebook, I actually have a workshop called the Global Speakers Talk, education forum for young adults, where me and a dear friend of mine from a global speakers community, what we're involved in, educate young adults to be inspiring leaders and entrepreneurs and thought leaders of the 21st century. So that's what I do, and I'm very, very passionate and I'm very proud of my work. I am an author as well, and as April talked about, I have my own book, Flying on the Inside and Reaching New Heights, The True Story of the Wise Entrepreneur, Volume 1, Growing Pains. That's it for now, so thank you. I hope that really helps you.
Yes, it is awesome. I am so glad that you are here, and I love that you are talking to our youth. Our youth are our future leaders. And Frankie, for you to have an understanding of this is very personal. You shared with me a little bit before we started the podcast about your life and growing up. And you have experiences which unfortunately many youth connect with drug abuse, with bullying, with racism, with a lot of challenges that can happen in our thoughts. And it impacts us. It impacts our education. It impacts how we view the world, how we view one another, how we even can comprehend what's going to happen next within our lives. So, as a youth coach, and with this amazing book of flying on the inside and reaching new heights, what is it that you like to start with your youth in coaching to kind of help them get on a path towards more light in their lives? What do you do?
It's really important that, April. I actually feel from a young age, I feel that we're really building our self-identity. And I've been building that for a very young age. But I feel that our self-esteem, well, I know my self-esteem was very, very low. And when you have low self-esteem, you can have a real kind of low opinion of who you are. You can be drawn into certain people or around certain aspects of your life, which can be quite dangerous. You know, you can attract yourself to the wrong people. You can have this wrong opinion of yourself. And that's only because we're growing up. That's only because we're developing. That's only because we're in this massive world where I feel that when we're young people, we find the world very adventurous. I found the world very, very adventurous. But sometimes I live with this sense of fear, this sense of I don't really care. And the thing what's really important as well, April and viewers, is that I live with this sense of do I truly love myself who I am? Do I truly know what that is? Because sometimes in life we're brought up with the wrong values. We're taught the wrong aspects and qualities about life. They don't resonate with us, and especially with men. And sometimes men have been brought up to either be so macho, egoistic, or like to show off, maybe like to impress people. Maybe it could be girls or just impress people in general. And what we usually find is that when we're growing up, April, we don't particularly love and respect who we are. And for me, I didn't truly love and respect who I was, or who I am, because I didn't really see my self identity, my true person of who I actually am. But now as I've got older and I've sort of like experienced the rich gamut of life and human emotions, I've realized that now I truly love myself. When we're young, it's very hard to understand love because we've not gone through a lot of experiences with our life. But what we do know is that we love our family, we love our mums and our dads, and probably our brothers and sisters. So it's something that we need to learn as we're growing up to really, truly love who we are and love ourselves. And for me, that's probably one of the most challengingest areas of really love, really, truly learning to love yourself and respect yourself for who you are. When you do that, you can live a more fulfilled and passionate life of who you really are. Until you do that, you can sort of like go down the wrong paths in life. And that's exactly what happened to me. I felt my true happiness was probably outside of myself, when really your true happiness is from within. And it can take years to love yourself. It's not easy, it's a real challenging process. But once you start to go on that journey of loving yourself, your self identity and your self esteem is really important. And you always try and have this kind of high life state, this high self identity of who you are, this high self esteem of who you are. So you can really penetrate society and penetrate your life and the world that you live in. So I believe that young adults need to love themselves and respect themselves for who they are. And we're not brought up to do that, so it can be a challenge. But once we learn how to do that, the world becomes our oyster. It becomes a better place for everyone to live in, including ourselves and our lives. So
And
I feel, April, really truly loving yourself and respecting who you are.
agreed. That idea of learning your identity and what that means, because it's not this is I feel this is the challenge. We need to know and learn and identify who we are through experiences, through study, through acceptance, through all of these. I mean, there's a variety, right? It's not that we turn inward and self-center, because that becomes a whole nother problem. We have to build within so that you can fly. Just like the title, right? You have to build within so that you can take off and get to those next heights, because if you are secure in that identity as you're building and as you are experiencing it, people then turn to help and reach out to others. It's like automatic. If we're self-centered and self-focused, we usually have the lower self-esteem. We usually have that negative voice, the self-critic, whatever you want to call it. I call mine a shame shadow. That starts that negativity, and it is loud and it can almost freeze you into really stopping who you are. That self-esteem just starts to drip out, and because we're so self-focused. So what you're saying is we have to self-identify, build, find those, experience life, keep adding to it, keep identifying, but not in a way that focuses inward, that our esteem goes down, but because when we find it and identify it, we actually end up reaching outward. just like you in this first volume, right? The growing pains, a lot of pain goes into discovering this self-identity. However, look at what you do now. Now you go out and you're showing the youth, come here, I need to show you this. Come here, let's look at all of these. Here's some skills. Here are these things because maybe you didn't have those skills growing up. Maybe you weren't exposed to those things growing up. Come here, let me show you. And it's in building that self esteem, which then what do? They reach beyond themselves to help others, right? It's phenomenal how it all works because when we think about focusing and loving the self, it's not out of narcissism, it's out of necessity because then you can go out and help so many people. So, share with us a story, if you can, about maybe one or two youth who have gone through your program and your coaching, and what are they doing now? Like, what clicked for them?
But I think what's really important when you're reaching out to youth and you're coaching them, you really want to meet them on a level par. You meet them on a level par to say that there's no point in me coaching a youth or coaching a teenager if I've not experienced what he's experienced. My niche is helping troubled young men. I cannot help troubled young men if I've not experienced trouble in my life. And most of the men that come to me are either drink or drugs or people just depressed or down or can't connect to society. Maybe there's men who can't communicate or not feel comfortable around the world that they're living in, so they end up in prison because they feel that's a way to escape from the outside world. I did it with my drinking drugs. My escape was drugs. I couldn't face my own reality and pain. So when I'm teaching troubled young men around drink or drugs or that kind of lifestyle or that kind of world of darkness, I can relate to them because I've been there and done it myself. So I'm not patronizing any child who's either taking drink or drugs or suffering with mental health because I've been there and done it myself. So usually what you find when you've been there and done it yourself and experienced it yourself, the child or the youth will open up more to you. When you're mentoring and coaching a person in front of you. And if you truly listen to a person and these problems and difficulties, that person will open up to you. Now remember, it's a skill as well to listen to youth. We don't always do it because we know how difficult it can be to really listen to a person and open up to a person's feeling. I know myself, and probably April will understand this, that we have selective listening. We don't listen to a person. And this listen is called the white magic. When you listen to somebody with that white magic, listening to everything about that person's life, you'd be amazed how that person opens up towards you. He listens to you and he embraces you because he can feel, that person feels that you're really listening to what he's saying. And the conversation can flow. So sometimes as a mentor and a coach, we use words with what, how, why. We use certain different ways to open up the question and get people to speak on a deeper level. So remember that, yes, I can only be as good as my clients and my customers feel I am. If they feel I'm not helping people, or if they feel I've got nothing to offer, it will show up in the relationship. So as a mentor and the coach and somebody public speaks, because I feel I have a voice I need to tell people, yeah? It's really important to come on a level par, to really respect that person, to listen, to ask exceptional questions and give exceptional feedback. They're the four qualities what I need as a mentor and coach so I can help young children to transform or change something in their lives. And remember, a lot of people just want to be listened to. And remember, you have a formula or a solution to transform and change something in that person's life. That's really important. But remember to get them four qualities in place first. Yeah. You coach, you have exceptional listening, you feedback in that exceptional listening, yeah, and you support that person's life. They're the qualities what you need. When you can do that, the conversation will go a lot more deeper. And it's not the fact that I'm mentoring or coaching somebody. What you usually find is that the coachee, which is a client, or the mentee, which is a customer, yeah, he can help you grow as a coach just as well as I'm helping him grow as a person. So it's a two-way process. That's how you get the real benefits out of mentoring and coaching, which is a very, very rewarding and lucrative industry to be in. And that's what I love about it. Because it teaches me something about myself as well. And it teaches me to grow just as well as with the client or the customer. So keep it simple. Remember the word KISS. Keep it short, sweet, or simple. That's what we want. And remember, if you've got a story to tell, everybody loves to hear the story. So please tell it to that person.
That's right.
Thank you.
In telling the people the story with our youth and opening them up, it's so interesting. So in my day job, I'm a teacher and I get to experience amazing teenagers daily, their challenges, their successes. And I feel like I have a custom room every morning where I get to impact 22 lives or more. And it's so uh, it's an amazing thing. And like you said, as the teacher, the coach, the mentor, we learn and experience so much from our youth, what they share, the wisdom, the impact. It does become very relational, and when it does that, the opportunity for trust is built, the ability to open up and share. And when they offer that because they know you are listening and that you care and that you're not just, okay, 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 are they finished? Are they finished? My turn. No, you listened. You thought it was impactful. And now, through questioning, you can get them to start to respond, to start to think, to have that awakening, that aha moment. And it is so rewarding. You are absolutely right. So, in the book, Flying on the Inside, Reaching New Heights, what what are some pieces of that book you can share with our authors out there, and so that they would be excited to pick this up and to see what they could do to help with the people within their own lives? Share a little bit about your book.
Right. When I'm going to talk to you about my book, I'm going to talk to you about being a vulnerable young lad or a young person, the transformation, and what I'm actually doing with my life now. So the troubled young lad was a shy and very kind of timid little boy who experienced quite a lot of things at an early age with his family and outside of his family, with other people, of racism, and kind of getting myself into trouble and feeling a little bit of a lost soul. And then the transformation was growing up and still seeing that, but realizing that I had to do something about my situation to become a lot more happier and fulfilled in my life. And sometimes we've got to look at ourselves and say, you know what? I have a lot of problems in my life, but maybe it's because I might be the problem. So I have to transform and change my life. Nobody else is going to do it for me because if I don't love who I am, why should anybody else love me if I don't love who I am? And people start to take advantage of you. And that's what happened to me. So remember, you've got to look at truly at yourself and you've got to want to change. But then again, as a male, and us male know about this, we don't like asking for help. Still, I can struggle with that now as well. So I'm still learning to ask for help. And help is really, really one of the wisest things you can do to educate yourself and to become a better person. I've realized that no man is an island. Every person needs help. And when you reach out to get that help, you'd be amazed how much it can help and liberate your own life. And that's what I do now. I've realized that there's a lot of mentors and there's a lot of coaches all around us every single day. It could be your mum or your dad. They're your mentors or your coaches. It could be your brother or your sister. They're your mentors and coaches. But when you think about it, even at school, the mentors and coaches what have been around you to mentor and coach your life have always been there. But me, I've took no notice because I've not taught me about the skills. I've not taught me about the life skills what I need to grow up in the world or into a troubled world or into a big world. So I've really learned to really mentor and coach myself first and then take it out and help other people to mentor and coach their lives. And when you think of all the people who've been around you who've done that, it's absolutely mind-blowing. But as we get older, we actually begin to actually see that. So my book is basically telling you, no matter how desperate or sad the situation is, because I've always had faith, I've always had beliefs, and my faith and beliefs have really felt they've really protected me to be the person I am now. Now I started to really want to learn about myself. This is where the true learning started to begin at the age of 26, 27. You call it the middle years of your life. You either say at the age of 30, you can either go that way, backwards, or you can go that way, upwards. And at the age of 30, I decided I wanted to go upwards. And I wanted to reach them stars in the sky. I want to really reach out for them stars. Because we're all stars. And them stars represent us in the sky. I wanted to be that star. So for me, it meant that I had to love myself, respect myself, educate myself. And sometimes I've been in some difficult, challenging situations because I'm always networking, wanting to meet people. I'm a people person. Sometimes it's been really challenging. But what I've learned so much about myself, about self-esteem, about self-identity, about building my self-confidence, and knowing that I'm just as good as anybody out there, no matter what they have. You've got to believe in yourself and believe in what it is that you want to do and you want to achieve. Because if you don't believe in it, nobody else is going to believe in it. And you're back to square one. So educate yourself. I've become a lifelong learner through self-education, through reading books, through really training myself, through doing educational courses, what can help me in my profession as an expert authority, as an entrepreneur, or as a thought leader. So every day I learn, educate, personal development, self-development, yes, thought leader, thinking of how I can be more creative, how can I impact people's lives, how can I lead by example, because I want to be known as a leader in society of young people and of the next generation, which is so important. So I've got to work on myself. I have a formula called the Dynamic Dream Formula. And the acronym DREAM stands for self-development, personal development. The R stands for relationships. The E stands for education. The A stands for association. And the M stands for motivation. Because I believe that every young person, if they can follow their dynamic dream formula, which is proven can help people transform something in their lives, they're going to become a lot more happier. And remember, we all have dreams, even at young ages. I had dreams of being my own boss, of being successful, of having, of being really, having what I need and having what I want for my life. Just being free financially and being my own boss, you know? So remember, have that formula. Remember, have them dreams, have them goals, hold on to them and put them into practice in your life. Have a formula which can help people and put that formula into practice. Master it, study it, and execute it. And it will serve you well and serve other people well. So when you're reading my book, it will tell you all about that and how to do it. And sometimes success isn't about always getting what you want. It's about doing the things that you feel are necessary and right for your life for you to be successful. Because remember, successful people do what unsuccessful people don't do. That's how they get their results. So
That's right.
sometimes you want to be successful, you've got to do things what people don't actually do themselves. You've got to stand out from the crowd. You've got to make a difference. That's really important. So are you making a difference? And if you are, how you make a difference? How are you standing out? How are you being that beacon of light, like April says? Thank you.
Awesome, Frankie. I love it. The how are we doing this? Great self introspective questions to ask. Because as we ask those, we do look, we start to examine, we think, well, what could be the change? Now, what's interesting is that some of these changes don't have to be drastic. We are probably closer than we think. With just a few tweaks, or maybe waking up in the morning a little earlier, or maybe reading something every day versus only once in a while. It's just adding those small percentages that really add up. And that's why I know you can see which side is it, this side? Yeah. My Pinpoints of Light, my first book, this concept of I needed a pinpoint out there. I needed something I could reach for. And in the darkness, all I could see was a pinpoint. That was it. That was enough. It turned me and I started to go forward. And in that movement, working towards that pinpoint, I started to see it became a beam. And as it became a beam, I could see that it was actually a beacon. And with that, I was adding more and more light to my life, bit by bit, line upon line, precept upon precept. And it was those small changes that added up that helped me to become aware of what I needed. Anytime I would try to do a drastic change, it never really worked. It didn't stick because my old habits or my old identity or my self esteem wasn't ready. So when we started bit by bit, it started to build. Now, I will say, following those pieces, we had some big changes happen, which was fantastic. But if I wouldn't have started at least somewhere where I could, like you said, where you meet them where they are, then you can take them where their potential is, right? Phenomenal. Frankie, thank you so much. This is why he's on the Beacon of Light podcast. He is an inspirational speaker. Thank you so much, Frankie. I remember
Thank
everyone
you,
go out
April.
there. You're welcome. Go out there, grab his book, Flying on the Inside, Reaching New Heights. You can get this on Amazon, and you've seen running on the ticker underneath his website. So go ahead and connect with him there. You heard at the beginning all the places where you can connect with him on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook. And let's get out there, connect with him, help our youth become those thought leaders, become those leaders of our future. And thank you again so much, Frankie. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Everyone, we'll see you soon. And thank you again.